village followed, until the nucleus of a small church had been formed. William Booth laid the report from India that contained Elizabeth Geige's story on his desk and walked to his office window. As he looked out at the brick and stone facades of London's buildings, a smile of satisfaction settled across his face. Elizabeth's action was the kind of selfless demonstration of the power of the gospel that touched people and changed their hearts. Her action was more powerful than the words of any sermon. Despite the vicious persecution members of the Salvation Army had endured since setting foot in India, Elizabeth was a woman who would not allow the message of God's love to be silenced. Elizabeth had done what William and any other member of the Salvation Army would have done. They would have shown God's love in whatever practical way possible. In the very streets of London below, people were out doing the same thing at that moment, helping the poor and needy, comforting the sick and the weak, and bringing the hope of God's love into otherwise hopeless lives and situations. That is what William Booth had striven to do all his life. From the first time he encountered those on the fringes of society in his hometown of Nottingham, he had been drawn like a magnet to them and their needs. They were the people God had given him to minister the gospel to. And now, a vast army of people like Elizabeth Geige were spread around the world doing the same. William sank back into the chair behind his desk to continue reading the dispatch from India. Before he could pick up the paper, he found his thoughts wandering back to Nottingham, where it had all begun. Chapter 2. Always Seek the Advantage. William Booth raced across the cobblestone street, leaping over a large muddy puddle. The bell was just being rung as he reached the bottom step to Biddulph's School for Young Gentlemen. Before he mounted the steps, William glanced down to make sure his jacket buttons were properly fastened and there was no mud on his shoes. As he did so, he spied a small leather pouch lying beneath the hedge. He walked over and picked it up. Inside were 3 coins, a shilling and 2 sixpences. William whistled to himself. It was a lot of money. He stuffed the pouch and the money into his trouser pocket. He would have to think carefully about how he might spend it. All the other 10-year-old boys in his class were standing in line when William finally made it up the stairs and into the hallway. He quickly joined the end of the line, trying to make himself as inconspicuous as possible. This was difficult, however, since he was tall for his age, a good head and shoulders above anyone else in the class. Soon the boys were all seated at their desks. As they recited Latin phrases, William's attention wandered, and he began to stare out the window. It was a gray, overcast day in 1839, and Nottingham looked as drab and uninviting as ever. In the grimy, dank street below, a young girl holding a crying baby wandered by, followed by a coal merchant on a cart pulled by a scraggly, emaciated horse. A ruler rapped on William's desk. "I doubt you have listened to a word I've said, Mr. Booth," the teacher exploded. "Students who do not listen in class fail in their homework. Tomorrow I shall be paying close attention to the work you do at home tonight." With that, the teacher dismissed the class for lunch. William stuffed his books in his bag and joined the other boys leaving the classroom. "I think I'm in trouble now," he said, half smiling to his best friend, Robert Powell. "You'll get through it. You always do," Robert replied, and then his face darkened. "Besides, you don't really have a problem compared to Harry and me." "What do you mean?" William asked. "My mother gave me money this morning to pay our school fees. I know I put it in my pocket, but when I got to school, the money was gone. I don't know what I'm going to do. My father will whip me when I tell him." "My father would do the same to me," William agreed. Then a thought